So now he said it appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So here's a woman again. Now this go back to the first one we read about. This is the bride. This is the Lord's church, because we're going to go ahead and identify the Lord's church. It said a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. First of all, she clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So that's going to be the key identifier. But now, you ready? We need another mic for him. I guess his battery went out. Somebody need to be able to check this stuff. Okay, go ahead, Cheston. Use that one for now till you get that together. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
So now it said the woman who it mentioned again, she was pregnant. She was with child, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. Again, all of these, he's showing you these different pictures, these analogies, but they must mean something. So you got a woman with the sun and the moon and 12 stars on her head, and she was impregnated, and she was going through birth pains, ready to be delivered. Just like women do, but this is in the spiritual sense. Then at verse 3 it said, and there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. So now you got a red dragon, because this is showing you the fight that's going on. Or it's showing you both ends of the spectrum. They opposing one another. Satan organization and God's organization. God's organization is the woman, and this is Satan's organization, the red dragon, which is Satan himself, but it's showing his organization with 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his head. Now we at verse 4. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Okay, turn this mic back on for me. This one here. The handheld. It's my fault. It's on. I like the way this one sounds better, so I'm going to use this one. Mine seemed low. Okay, so now at verse 4, it told you that the dragon's tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and cast them down. Go ahead, verse 5.
And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
Okay, it said the woman, going back to verse 1 and 2, the woman did bring forth a man-child like she was supposed to. And her man-child was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, it said. And he was caught up to God and to his throne. Because this woman is God's church. And, of course, everything centers around God's church. Even Jesus himself, the man-child, had to come through this woman. Whoever she is, we're going to see who it is before we get too far. But the title of the lesson is The Church of Jesus, Israel or Rome. See, this woman got to be one of them. And the dragon who it described is representing the other one. Because like I said, even though you got multitudes of churches and denominations in this world, really, you can break it down to 2. Either you're going to deal with the church from Israel or the church from Rome. But now we're going to move a little further. Let's go to Genesis 37. Genesis 37. Genesis 37, and we're going to pick it up at verse 3. We read a little bit of this last week. Dealing with Joseph and the dreams that he had, but we're going to get the description, but we're going to be able to identify the description it gave us of that woman in Revelation 37 and verse 3. Go ahead.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors.
Okay, now Israel, we know, here's Israel, which was Jacob. His name was changed to Israel, and that's when the nation started. And throughout the Bible, that's who you see who God is dealing with. Dealing with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the nation of Israel, which was started right here. He said Israel loved Joseph more. Now, we read it last week, so we ain't going to read all this. Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
And he dreamed yet another dream.
Now, Joseph was having dreams, and that made his brothers hate him more because the dream showed that he was going to be over them, that he had some good qualities, some leadership qualities, and he was going to end up in a position over them, and they didn't like that at all. They didn't want to deal with that. So they hated him more and more. They hated him the way his father treated him. Then they hated him because he was having dreams. But that didn't stop the Lord from giving them to him. And he told him again. So he dreamed another dream. Go ahead.
And told it his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
See, now this dream was about the sun and the moon and 11 stars. And he said they bowed down before Joseph. I thought we had somebody getting happy in here running up the aisle for a minute. So he said the sun and the moon and 11 stars made obeisance to him. This is the exact characterization it gave us of the woman in Revelation, except it said it had a crown of 12 stars upon her head. This is the exact characterization, except it's 11 stars, but we know Joseph is the 12th star. 11 stars got to bow down to the 1 star. And the sun and the moon is included. But go ahead, read a little further.
Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
See, Jacob understood who the dream represented. He said, you trying to tell me he was represented by the sun and the moon, because the man would be represented by the stronger light because he's the stronger vessel. So he was represented by the sun. His wife was represented by the moon. He said, I and your mother and your brethren, that was the 11 stars, Joseph being the 12th star. You mean to tell us we're going to have to bow down to you? So he understood it. But that showed you this woman in Revelation clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet and a crown of 12 stars is none other but representing the nation of Israel. That's who is represented. But go ahead.
Verse 11, and his brother envied him, but his father observed the same.
See, his father was smart enough to say, well, I'm going to see what happened. But his brothers, they was dumb enough to just envy him. But now let's go further. Let's go to Exodus, the 19th chapter. Exodus 19. Exodus 19. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Because that was the beginning of God dealing with Israel. When it was starting to get formatted. Exodus 19, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were going forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness.
Okay, now, again, God is still dealing with Israel here. See, we see throughout the Bible, God is dealing with Israel. So, some kind of way, it needs to be some kind of switch for us to get to Rome. And most people might not know what you mean when you're talking about Rome anyway. But if you don't, you're going to find out. But we see so far we dealing strictly with Israel. And that's the title, the Church of Jesus, Israel or Rome. Some people might not know Jesus was the one back in the Old Testament orchestrating everything. He was the overseer or even the God of the Old Testament. So he was doing all of this. So this indeed is his church. The Father been sitting in heaven letting him do it all. So he brought Israel out of Egypt by the hand of Moses. And when he got them out of Egypt, he took them straight to the desert so he could start to inform his church on how he wanted them to operate as his church. But he made them a special people. But he said here at verse, it was in the 3rd month when the children of Israel came forth out of the land of Egypt. They came to the wilderness of Sinai. What verse you at?
We were at the end of verse 2.
Okay, verse 2, he said, for they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount. Go ahead, pick it up at verse 3.
And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. So
now they actually meeting with God. Moses talking to him first here. He said, this is what I want you to tell. The Lord told Moses, this is what I want you to tell Jacob, the house of Jacob, and tell Israel, which is one and the same. Go ahead.
Verse 4, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wing, and brought ye unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
See, now, this is when he was separating Israel as a people from everybody else. He said, if you will obey my voice and keep my covenant. First of all, he let them know, he said, you saw what I did, how I brought you out of Egypt. You saw all that I went through to get you out. He said, you seen what I did unto the Egyptians and how I bear you on eagle's wing. Now you need to obey me. If you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people of the earth. So the Lord is telling Israel they're going to be a peculiar treasure. But go ahead, verse 6.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
Also they will be unto God a kingdom of priests. Go ahead.
And an holy nation.
And an holy nation.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
See, that's what he's telling Israel. Nobody else. A kingdom of priests, a holy nation. Let's go further. Go to Acts, the 7th chapter. We're going to go to the New Testament. See, that's when Israel officially was becoming God's church. Now, like I said, the word church wasn't there, but he called them the congregation, which is one and the same. He said that 100 times, the congregation of Israel, the congregation of Israel.